I don't think anything really changed structurally in terms of people's ability to recognize what's going on until Bernie ran for president. I think when he did that, everyone who perceived it to be one way, like it's really these good guys versus these bad guys, it's not like that at all. It's corporate versus non-corporate, and Bernie cast a very bright light on it, and they're trying to put the cat back in the bag right now. I don't think it's going to happen. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right to say that Bernie catalyzed and was in a position to ride a wave of anger. I mean, I wrote a book back in 2000, I think it was 2008, called The Uprising. And the premise of the book was basically that the public is angry at a government that has decided brazenly not to deliver for regular people. And the contest in politics for the next generation would be which side can channel that righteous anger. And the thesis of the book was, if the progressive movement does not harness that anger, then right-wing authoritarians will harness that anger. I'm not here to say I told you so, but
you did.
Sort of did.
No, and you should say that. And what's interesting is I wish I had known about this then, but what's interesting is this entire past few years, all I kept thinking is there's a populist uprising and it's going to go left or it's going to go right. And I really had this thought in my head as to whoever wins the presidency, it's going to go the other direction, because that's generally what we see. And that was really my issue with voting for Joe. It was, again, not a proud moment for me, but that is what I was always seeing, is that we were having an uprising, and and what I'd like to do is connect the left with the right. And that's what we need a Labor Party that is just populist, and we take the wedge issues off the table and just start serving working people and labor. And most of those wedge issues shouldn't be government issues anyway.
The fact that they're holding up the $2,000 checks right now,
that's an issue.
I mean, how much tighter do you think you can squeeze people? That's what I would ask.
Yeah, the left-right coalition, when I worked for Bernie in the Congress, he had some specific issues that he was able to forge left-right coalitions. One example was importing cheaper prescription drugs, FDA-approved drugs from Canada. You had free traders on the right and you had progressives on the left that actually worked and kind of came from both sides to triangulate the center. And he was able to actually pass some legislation doing that. I think now I don't necessarily think of it as, left and right need to come together. I think of it as more actually even simpler, which is whoever is going to deliver material change and materially improve people's lives, or at least make a compelling case that their agenda is materially improving people's lives, will be the victors in our politics. And that's why this moment, and you mentioned the $2,000 checks, is so important. $2,000 checks is not only a clear promise by Joe Biden and the Democrats. It is as clear as George Bush saying, "Read my lips," right? That was you can't get clearer than that. Okay, so a promise, and it's not just read my lips, no new taxes, because new taxes is kind of vague. It's like, read my lips. This is a direct thing that's going directly into your pocket to materially improve, at least in the short to medium term, your life. If you can't deliver that, then and I don't care what your reasons are. Like, oh, Mitch McConnell's I can't deal with him, or the Republicans, or there's such obstructions. Or Joe Manchin's my big problem. It doesn't matter. Like the average person, it does not matter. And the other thing that doesn't matter to the average person is, oh, did you pass it with bipartisan support or by one vote? Nobody cares. The only thing people care about is, help me deliver material change to my life, to improve my life right now, as you promised. So if they don't deliver that, they are creating the opportunity for right-wing authoritarians to say, see, I told you so. And there's one other point about this. It doesn't matter that the right-wing authoritarians may be the ones stopping the $2,000 checks. They will still turn right around and say, you see, don't vote for the Democrats because they promised you something and they're not going to deliver it. We just published a story at dailyposter.com about this. It's very reminiscent of the public option. In 2009, Obama, Biden campaign on the public option. They get in, the Republicans threaten to vote it down. They ultimately stop it. Obama and Biden back off, say, well, I'm not sure it's essential. The Republicans voted it down once. I'm not going to go back to the well. And then at one point, Obama's like, I didn't even campaign on it, just like totally lied, right? And then it finally comes to the Senate in 2010. The Democrats won't even offer it up for a floor vote. Guess what? We get no public option. And then soon after, the same Republicans who, in fairness, did block the public option, they turn right around. They're like, look, he can't even deliver health care for me. He promised all this stuff. And guess what? The Democrats get shellacked in the 2010 election. We have to do everything we can to not relive that history. That history is a cautionary tale here. If you can't deliver checks to people that you promised, a wildly popular issue. It won't matter what reason you cite. It will only matter that you didn't deliver.
Yeah. The Democrats are very big on reasons and excuses, which is why I believe that they actually prefer having the Republicans be in charge and prefer having a Republican in the White House, because then they don't have to do anything. And I think it's that Mick resistance. It's like, oh, well, it's not us, it's them. When in fact, they're all answering to the same interests. So it's like this controlled opposition, like we're being played like it's a fake color war. And only the people that are really the left people are in that sort of awareness of that and wanting to do things to help the collective, and everyone else is just business as usual.
Well, look, I think at this point they don't have an excuse. If they don't deliver, they are imperiling their own majority. I'm not willing to say that they would lose, because you don't underestimate at this point the Republicans' willingness to put up unelectable lunatics. Look, we've seen that in Colorado. I'll give you an example of that. The Democrats in Colorado, and to be fair, I'm literally the spouse of a Democratic legislator.
Yeah.
In Colorado. So the Democrats have delivered some things. They have not been able to deliver everything. There's all sorts of structural reasons. But the Democratic Party in Colorado, like potentially the Democratic Party in nationally, has benefited from the fact that the Colorado Republican Party has not put up electable people. They put up extremist right-wing people who are so wildly out of control that even a kind of moderate, I don't even like to use the word moderate, but a sort of status quo Democratic Party has been able to win elections. And the Democratic Party may be able to get away with that in 2022, maybe in 2024. But the point is that you're sort of ceding your future to the Republicans deciding or being unable to put up electable people, as opposed to seizing the future for yourself and creating an actual sustainable majority by actually delivering for people. And so I don't want to say, like, if the Democrats don't deliver the $2,000 checks, they're going to lose in 2022, but what I'm going to say is that if you don't deliver, you're making it easier for right-wing authoritarians to win in 2022 and 2024. And I believe that the next Donald Trump will be way smarter, way shrewder, and way more dangerous than Donald Trump. I mean, we really got lucky that in the sense, not that we didn't get lucky that Donald Trump won. We got lucky that that the right-wing authoritarian who won was a buffoon like Donald Trump, because that's sort of a warning that the next one maybe won't be a buffoon and will be actually way more dangerous.
Tom Cotton's coming.
There's a lot of people that could be worse.
Tom Cotton's the one. I mean, if anybody, David, you've been in politics a long time. It's like you kind of see these things coming before they actually happen. Tom Cotton's he's just biding his time. He is as in bed with the military-industrial complex as anybody on the right. He's actually very good on the stump if you've seen him. He's good. Look, they're going to.
Let's not give them ideas of potential, neo-fascist.
Well, I thought it was going to be Cotton or Hawley. I don't know how much Hawley's. I mean, I don't think Hawley's among the Republican base.
I got to tell you, Hawley's best option at this point is to become a full-blown populist and say, I'm going to make sure everybody gets these $2,000 checks. Like, he's going to have to cross party lines and say, I'm going to do this for the people. If he does that, he might be able to, resuscitate his.
Well, he's playing a really both. I mean, it's interesting. It's like darkly interesting. It's not like interesting, like positively interesting. It's like interesting, and he may have miscalculated, but clearly his theory was, I'm gonna forge bipartisan alliances with people like Bernie Sanders on things that are truly economically populist. Give everyone $1,200, $2,000. But then I'm still a Republican. I'm still relying on the Republican base. So to compensate for that with my base, I'm going to go wildly right wing on things like, overturning the entire election. That's quite a kind of wild calculation to make, right? It's sort of the kind of a bizarro version of the moderate Republican. Like the moderate Republican theory is I'll be here sort of in the quote unquote center in Washington, and I'll make deals, and I'll be sort of Mitt Romney moderate. Instead, Hawley's I'll go here with Bernie Sanders, and then I'll go here with Ted Cruz, and sort of try to put these two things together. And I think he went so far to the right that, in theory, I mean, you never know, right? Take the long view. But in theory, he kind of overreached. I mean, obviously what he did with the election was abhorrent and disgusting and just totally grotesque. Just absolutely. I don't care if you're a Republican or not. If you're trying to overturn the election, that's just totally and completely grotesque.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.